Hello everybody, this is Conquering History Games, and welcome to a new campaign here on the channel. Today it's going to be some Equestria at War. The mod for, sorry, I'm stumbling over my words. The mod for Hearts of Iron 4, of course, the Riverlands update is out. Now, the first thing that I want to mention, since I'm sure some of you are going to comment it below or thinking about commenting it, I know that I did the poll saying I was choosing between Lake City and a Nimbusia or Nimbusia, I think it's a Nimbusia campaign, and Lake City very clearly won that campaign. However, I then discovered after I recorded episode 1 that somebody else had started up a Lake City campaign and was doing the exact same path that I am. Now I know that overlap happens a lot in Hearts of Iron 4, but Equestria at War in particular is such a big mod. There's just so many countries to play as that I figured, okay, you know what? I'm not going to do a Lake City campaign while this other guy is doing his. I'll wait and do it in the future, especially since he's doing the same path that I was going to do. So we're going to check out Nimbusia because you know what? There's plenty of stuff to go around, bro. So I'm going to play Nimbusia. Let's do a brief history of theirs. Warning, there's a lot of reading in the early part of Nimbusia. Even for an Equestria at War country, there is a lot of reading here, and it's terrific, by the way. So, brief history. Since ancient times, Nimbusia has been a democracy ruled by a Pegasus warrior class. Now, just a refresher for those who don't know, ponies are made up of 3 classes, or I guess you could say subspecies. There are the earth ponies, which are like traditional horses, I guess you could say, but they're extra strong. Then there's the Pegasi, who have the wings, and then you have the unicorn, so those have the horns. So this is like the Pegasus-led country as opposed to, I think it's Wittenland, which is more unicorn-based, I think. Not 100% sure. You know, there's a lot of countries. I haven't learned how all of them work yet. Anyway, coming back to the brief history. The democratic nation has reached turbulent times, split between those who seek reform, those who want to abolish democracy, and those who want to defend tradition. A smart and well-spoken politician will be able to take advantage of the situation and win over the hearts of the Nimbusians. So we're selecting them. We're going over here. We're part of the River Republic, River Federation area here in Eastern Griffonia. This time, though, we are not going to do the historical AI focuses so we can see what can happen compared to my River Republic campaign where I deliberately went historical. Okay. It's loading up some graphics. Here we go. The martial democracy. The mountainous... I think you guys will figure out pretty quickly what this country's based on, by the way. The mountainous coastline, which marks the eastern boundary of the River Coalition, harbors but little room for pony settlement. The many myths and legend which surround the founding of Nimbusia's first cities tell the same narrative of how this area got settled. The ponies that came to the Riverlands from the north were divided by their tribe, Earth Pony, Pegasus, or Unicorn. The rugged mountains of Nimbusia were left for the Pegasus Guardians of the expedition, as they would be easily able to settle the area which was hard to traverse on hoof. Only later did the other tribes make their way into Nimbusia, but this initial divide has left its mark on Nimbusian society today. Initially, many disconnected cities, or pulleys, dotted the country, but by the way, you'll have to forgive me for all the Greek pronunciations I have throughout this campaign. I've studied ancient Greek a lot, mostly in my own personal time, although I'm hoping to take a class on it next semester. But because I study it on my own, and that means I'm reading, not hearing somebody say it, I mispronounce it a lot. Okay, so, where was I? Yeah, Nimbusi, the largest polis, over here, managed to subjugate the other cities with their disciplined Pegasi army, combining discipline instilled from youth and an almost complete lack of ground units. This Nimbusian army has been the marvel of East Griffonia ever since. Nimbusian society became highly stratified, with many non-Pegasi being relegated to the Helot class, a group barely treated better than slaves, despite the Nimbusians claiming it's just payment for protection from outside threats. These helots were mostly from conquered cities, the defeat of their ancestors still haunting them today. They and the non-citizen Perioikoi class, stuck in the middle, were needed to sustain the martial lifestyle of the citizen warrior class at the top. Though they were in ancient times briefly subjugated by Prince Blessed Sword of what is called Lake City, the citizens of Nimbusia determined their own fate, voting on laws and other issues in the assembly of Nimbusia called the Equestria. Even in the modern day, the citizens of Nimbusi see themselves as protectors of not only the Helots, but also of all the river ponies. The Pegasi finally think back to great deeds, such as the Battle of Thermopylae, a glorious final stand where a Nimbusian phalanx stalled the advancing griffins of the west for days, so that the rest of the riverlands can rally. However, time has not stood still outside the mountains of Nimbusia, and the oracle at Pranstrus has predicted a turbulent time. Political strife has almost completely stalled all politics in the ancient democracy. 3 factions are vying for power. The traditional... Sorry. Gee, something's in my throat. The traditionalists seek to uphold the status quo of Nimbusian society. If they want any change at all, they want it to be built on the past and be gradual. They have rallied behind Pegaleaus, an old veteran both of politics and war. So, okay, that's not him. The reformists have taken inspiration from their allies in the River Coalition. They seek to modernize the economy, to emancipate the Periolokoi class into the citizenry, and to cooperate more closely with Nimbusia's neighbors. Uniquely, this faction is led by a well-respected unicorn, Metakeros. Lastly, a coalition of young officers and soldiers who call themselves the Purists has formed around Andrea, which, by the way, is Greek for manly, a young general. These soldiers have had enough of the bickering of Nimbusian democracy and seek to centralize power under the military. However, they are criticized for their complete disdain of foreigners and civilians, especially of the non-Pegasus variety. It remains to be seen which faction manages to convince the citizens of Nimbusia. The Pegasi of Nimbusia are weary of any pony garnering too much popularity, and every politician is taught about what happened to those with hubris who thought they had the crowd on their hands. The Nimbusians ostracized them. Why did I say ostracated? I know what that word is. Ostracized them. Whoever wins the political power, however, will find perhaps the most fearsome of ponies on the continent at their command. Alright, region stuff. We're in the east. We need to be careful about the Griffin Liberation Army. We could possibly form the Federation, which could be pretty strong, and then the Griffonian Empire is supposed to be a threat to our west. Here's the mechanics of the game. You guys can pause it and read it if you want. I don't feel like I have to go over it right now. Basically, the most important thing is the AI is stronger. Like as far as the game knows, here's what we need to know. There's different tech. There's different societies and research. Nukes are much, much stronger, and we've got Operation Paperclip for people who are behind. All right, national focus. We are going to be doing the Fight for Strength path. Well, actually, I should correct that. Just because I'm taking Fight for Strength now, that does not actually mean I necessarily have to take that path, but we're going to do that, I think. Although all 3 of these, I was testing them out. These are 3 very, very interesting paths. All of them are incredibly full of flavor. All right. Fight for Strength. Andrea, a young officer in the army, heads the Purist faction. They argue that the Boel, that's the people who deliberate, makes Nimbusia indecisive and vulnerable. She has rallied many young Pegasi to her side, who seek to claim their right as undisputed rulers of Nimbusia. To accomplish this, Andrea allied herself with the philosopher Spohippos, who forged the radical idea in Paulton's Republic into an anti-democratic platform. Now, when I say test, I just mean that I've kind of just vaguely understood, all right, who gets what path? Something like that. Now, we're going to just set up some infrastructure there, I'm thinking. Come over here. We want to get basic infantry equipment because right now we actually do not have, well, we technically already have the formats, but if you don't have basic infantry equipment, your society is cut up from a lot of stuff. So, for example, I'm not even allowed to take a land doctrine right now. And really, before I do anything else, I suppose I should take a look at what our society looks like at the moment so we can get a better idea of the flavor. So we got lots of national spirits. Let's try to go through them as quickly as possible. The Boli. The Boli is the governing council of Nimbusia, made up of 500 citizens randomly selected each year from a pool of candidates chosen by each of the 10 tribes. While this system of government ensures all citizens have a say in the nation's government and almost eliminates corruption, there is a chance that those in power may not be the most capable. So this increases our stability but lowers our political power gain, and also increases by 50% the cost of our trade laws, mobilization, and economy. We have citizens, I'm just going to call these Paries. Citizens, Paries, and Helots. Nimbusian society is divided into 3 rigid castes. The citizens, composed almost exclusively of Pegasi who have undertaken the HOI and passed the trials of the Cyclone, possess all political power and are required to serve in the military. The non-citizen Paries, who, while they are not represented in the political system, are free citizens, mostly serving as merchants, artisans, and bureaucrats for the martial Pegasi. And the serf Helots, forming the backbone of Nimbusian agriculture. While they are not treated as badly as chattel slaves in some other nations, they have no real rights and freedoms and are the property of the state or the citizens. This increases my resource gain efficiency but lowers my non-core manpower, recruitable population factor, factory output, dockyard output, stability, and daily communism support is reduced. Communism support being the Helots. Now, the trials of the Cyclone. This is pretty cool. At the age of 15, every young Nimbusian faces the trials of the Cyclone. These trials test their strength, loyalty, honesty, dedication, and bravery. Only those who pass earn the right to be a citizen, and it makes us all stronger. So the first thing, the bad stuff. This increases our Special Forces Division training time as well as training time overall. However, our Special Forces minimum capacity is increased by 20, the multiplier by 35%, mobilization speed has gone up by 25%, division attack, defense, and speed is all increased. Same for Special Forces. They get additional supply crates, they acclimatize a little bit faster to heat, much faster to cold, and research time is minus 10% for them. Alright, next, Nimbusian General Staff. Through years of military training, combat experience, and tradition, the Nimbusian General Staff is a force to be reckoned with. Increases the cost and research time for unicorn technology as well as military leaders, but division organization, reinforce rate, planning speed is all improved. Pegasi technology research is increased. So for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, over here in the Pony technologies, we have the Earth and Pegasi stuff. So this takes longer, Pegasi stuff goes faster. Pretty straightforward. Where were we? And starting attack skill of all new army leaders is +1. Alright, halfway there. Martial society. Every Nimbusian citizen is or was a soldier. Few other nations can pride themselves on a populace that values martial skill, discipline, and physical prowess than Nimbusians do. Of course, that means some other areas of society suffer, especially ones seen as frivolous or not befitting a Nimbusian Pegasi. Bad stuff first, once again. Increases the cost of subversive activities. Civilian construction speed is increased. Overall, construction speed is slowed on civilian factories by 10%, also generally slowed by 10%. Production efficiency growth, production efficiency cap, both are minus 15%. Armor research time and general research time is increased by 10%, industrial research time by 8%, electronics research time by 12%. However, this means we have an additional 20% war support, plus 7% recovery rate, plus 15% attack and defense on core territory, and the effect of our partisans is plus 25%. We are a Treaty of Coldstream member. That basically means we could potentially be part of the River Federation. We have mass illiteracy, just like pretty much everybody does, reducing our construction speed and increasing our research time. And finally, we are suffering from poverty. We have suffered a near total economic collapse, leading to tremendous levels of poverty across the board. So these last 3 are what basically everybody has. Yeah, see, treaty, mass illiteracy, poverty. Everybody's got to deal with that. But a lot of detail going into what this society is. Now, we're going to create our army group. We might as well have Pegacles here with his helmet. I wonder if he also has a lump on his head. That's why he wears the helmet. Anyway, he'll be our field marshal, and he's pretty darn good. What do we got here? He's old guard, but a brilliant strategist, a war hero, career officer, infantry leader, and an unyielding defender. Nice. All right, next, the Bole deliberates. The Citizens' Council is the executive of the Nimbusian democracy, but the citizens of the Nimbusi can't seem to agree on anything. With both reformists and purists seeking to break the status quo, even the smallest issues turn into an ideological struggle. However, the chaos is an opportunity for ambitious ponies to steer the citizenry with the ancient skill of rhetoric. Very cool. Alright, so for generals, we got some interesting designs here. This is Andrea here. She's the one who gets mentioned a lot. There's Gilfinos as our or Gil Hippos as a field marshal. We also have Sclerionatavis. All right, so we're probably not going to use Hyonos here just because he doesn't have cool armor. Well, of course, we'll probably use him eventually, but for right now, we're going to go with, there's the coup in Lake City. This is Democracy Dies. Okay, so they've become the princely Lake City. Anyway, we're going to go with this guy here, Karianoptos. He's a career officer, Air Force commander, that's kind of rare, and an organizer. Okay, now next, we've got 5 focuses here that take 28 days each, and they're going to each give us an event at the end of it. I think we're going to go with the ones that give us a permanent reward first. Okay, renovating the Acropolis. Well, let's just click that first. All right, renovating the Acropolis. The Acropolis of Nimbusia used to be the pride of our people. However, in recent years, the temples on it have stood in disrepair. Now the citizenry demand that something be done. The purists seek to build a new temple to the gods of war, while the traditionalists want a historical renovation. The reformists, meanwhile, consider the massive building project a waste. Friendship games going on. That's Equestria pony business, not our own. Let's see. We're gonna now read this, of course. Misuse of funds is murder. The reformists have taken the view... We have taken the radical standpoint that the Acropolis should not receive any extra funds. So the okay, let's just review here real quick. The reformists are harmony under Metakeros, so that's basically democracy-minded. The Helots are communists, and we ignore them. And then there's the purists under Andrea. Is it Andrea? I'm going to say Andrea. There's a lot of... I'm probably pronouncing that wrong, but there's a lot of Andreas in my hometown, so I'm guessing it's pronounced that way. Those are the fascists. And then there's the traditionalists under Pegasicles, who are just that. They're the traditionalists. So basically, democracy, communism, purism, and tradition. So, Pontagoras had the unenviable task to defend this to the bull, which was mostly in favor of the renovation. When the orator took the stage, he began his talk as he... by the way, I think Pentagoros, or Pontagoras, I think he's the harmonist guy. Right, he began to talk as he often did with something seemingly unrelated. Using numbers he had gathered, Pontagoras gave a sketch of poverty in the country, even among citizens. In fact, the hardships even led to some untimely deaths. With that, he came to the Acropolis. Although he praised its beauty and the noble cause of renovation, the complex, he had to admit, the state could have... Wait, what? There's some typos in here, goddammit. All right, he had to admit that the state could have other priorities. Now that the bull knew about the blight of the poorest citizens, could it really justify this prestige project? Representatives from the other parties cried foul, arguing that Pontagoras was using emotional arguments, but the damage had been done. Many of the counselors indeed knew poor ponies who were having difficulties scraping together a living. With those images in their mind, they voted to recommend the Ecclesia to use the money on economic means instead. So because I took that fight for strength thing at the beginning, I'm getting that voice and all that stuff. So they dishonor the gods of war. This cost me political power, and harmony just became a little bit stronger. Oh, we could support the purest cause here. The bull is the governing... Wait a second. Governing Council of Nimbusia, made of 500 citizens. Okay, we can support the cause by paying 70 political power. This gives me 4 popularity, but lowers my stability. I think I could use that power elsewhere. Let's not do that. Past glory. The deliberations in the... I'm just going to say it the B for short. The deliberations in the B invigorated debates about the destiny of the Acropolis of Nimbusia. For a long time, it was the pride of the country, but budget cuts and negligence left the highest point of the city a shadow of its former self. A lot of soldiers support the idea of a temple to the god of war, while many other older citizens seek to restore the Acropolis. Some of the youngsters, however, consider the project a waste of time and would rather see infrastructure be made with the money. Alright, reformist plan wins. No. Traditionalists, no. Purists get their temple of war. Costs me political power, but now I get more popular. And we have the national spirit martial Acropolis. The old Nimbusia Acropolis has been renovated to serve as a temple of war and glory. Alright, party popularity reward, party popularity, free... Possible free factory reward. I like that. Speaking of silver, recently the gods have blessed us with the discovery of a large vein of silver. These riches sit unused, however, since the bee cannot decide what to do with our newfound wealth. Although some want to keep the silver for hard times, the reformists and purists seek to invest the silver to strengthen their preferred parts of Nimbusia. Okay. Emperor's dead. There goes Grover. I don't know if Grover the Sixth has a portrait yet. It's a little ambiguous. There's a funny thing. All right. Speusippos orates about bravery. So this is one of the field marshals, I think, right? Yeah, or no. No, wait. Who is he? He addressed the bee with great confidence, completely foregoing rhetoric about saving or investing. The Pegasus instead focused on a battle he knew he could win. Speusippos talked at length about the many conversations he had. Oh, wait, I remember who he is. Yeah, with the many conversations he had with soldiers and even generals about bravery. Bravery, then, was a virtue, naturally in the middle between foolhardiness and cowardice. Of course, Nimbusia's soldiers could never be accused of cowardice, but what of foolhardiness? What was going on? What was going into battle with outdated guns and without modern equipment foolhardy? Speusippos left it to the others to contemplate that question. When the philosopher was done, the bee voted to recommend the ecclesia to vote for a military investment program. He knows what matters. Plus 10 popularity, plus 3 fascism support. Geez, I am just so tongue-twisted today. It's a bad one to be tongue-twisted on. All right, library. Oh, I just noticed we're also on extensive conscription automatically. Not very much pony power, though, even with that. Okay, over the last 2 years, construction on a grand library has been ongoing within the city of Nimbusia. While this is by no means the city's greatest store of knowledge and information, it still promises to be a highly regarded institution. The project was undertaken by Lodi Levantus, a respected unicorn merchant who has generously used her wealth to sponsor projects related to the arts, philosophy, and education. She's also created quite the controversy for her very vocal support of supporting the bees and instituting universal suffrage within Nimbusia. On opening day, Loludi took the stage before a crowd composed of a few thousand citizens. In her speech, she commemorated the library and the ideals of free-thinking education and democracy, publicly expressing a hope that one day these walls would be open to all ponies regardless of race, class, or political affiliation. This speech caused quite a stir, and the controversy of the situation was only reinforced when the first group of VIPs entered the library. What they found was that one of the library's wings was left empty and roped off, with a simple plaque hanging before them. On it was a promise to truly finish this library once the embargo upon foreign literature was finally lifted. Ooh, that's a message. Education and politics should never intermingle. Wow. What a move. What a move. She'll be killed, of course. But what a move. Oh yeah, so let's take a minute here, by the way, to take a look at our division. So I'm noticing here we've got 4 Pegasi divisions, which is it looks like the communists are going to come to power in Wingbardy. We've got these Pegasi divisions here, which is of course the special forces, the Black Wings, the Tartarus, the Thunderstruck, and the Sacred Band of Nimbusia, called Hoplites. They come with artillery already and recon as well. Man, I can't wait until that guy working on the 3D sub models, the sub mod of the 3D model ponies is done. That's gonna just ratchet this sub to the next, this mod to the next level. Anyway, blessings of wealth. After a passionate debate on ethics, where the actual question at hand was often out of sight due to lengthy allegories and examples, it is up to the ecclesia to determine what to do with the silver. The treasurer was seen honoring the gods of the city to grant the people the wisdom to save the funds. However, as always, many citizens thought of the immediate benefits of expanding industry and creating more jobs. Okay, we are going to expand the military industry, which is going to give me a factory, more popularity, but I'm losing political power once again. There goes the Wingbardian Civil War. Down here, my money is on Antonio Proletarino, but who knows. We're going to go now... The ecstasy of foreigners. Zenoi foreigners have been causing problems in the city, often drunk on wine. These magi from Wittenland are a nuisance, so that's the kingdom over here. They are a nuisance. These reformists have taken up the cause for the foreigners, hoping to combat xenophobia. The others factions, meanwhile, argue over a suitable punishment for the unicorns. right, delegation of bugs. This is just basically the thing where they want to trade with us, the changelings up here. We're going to say they are pitiful, weak, and offer nothing of value. Perhaps they can buy their safety with their ship. What? I don't remember that line. 1 unit of convoy is added to the stockpile. 1. That is great. Love that kind of detail. That's like some medieval 2 Total War level of detail right there. Okay, we got the muskets, pre-industrial artillery. Should I even bother making fighters right now? We already have a few. Making a couple more was not, I think, going to make a difference. So let's just keep dumping it into that. Let's maybe also try to get some more divisions up and running if I can. Oh yeah, by the way, so I've noticed this before, but for those of you who haven't, because we're in Nimbus area, we can make sea cloud carriers meant to be aircraft carriers for the flying Pegasi. And they're super cheap, as you can see. They're only 4,375 to make, but the problem is their armor is only 3 compared to, say, let's see here, like a light cruiser whose armor's 5. All right. Anyway, Ponitagoras pleads innocence. Ponitagoras had made a name by taking up causes that seemed all but lost with arguments, clever use of words, and sheer charisma. He has gotten many ponies acquitted in his career. His opponents knew this and tried all sorts of disruptive tricks to prevent the reformists from speaking. However, the bees' praesidium caught on to this and allowed Ponitagoras to deliver his oration. The philosopher started praising Nimbusian wine, and by weaving myth and reality together, he suggested that Nimbusian wine was indeed ambrosia, the drink of the gods. Even most of his opponents had to admit that saying otherwise would be blasphemy, and that was precisely what Ponitagoras wanted to hear. Continuing his argument, the Pegasus argued that the Wittenlanders, tasting the divine drink, were merely possessed by the divine spirit. Any actions committed while drunk were then merely the will of the gods. To go against that would be blasphemy as well. Therefore, the Wittenlanders were only guilty for obeying the gods of Nimbusia. At the end of the day, the bee had to agree with the reformists. The other factions are Proxenoi. Cost me political power, and the Harmonious are more powerful. I'm starting to get the sense that we're supposed to go Harmony, and I'm hurting myself by doing otherwise. Damn it, I'm committing, though. The citizens' verdict. The bees' sessions went together with a spike in anti-foreigner sentiment, especially in the countryside. Now that the deliberations are done, the people have to decide. Many citizens recognize that cooperating with our neighbors is a necessity in these times. Nevertheless, many citizens consider the unicorn's behavior unacceptable. To this end, the Ecclesia votes to call for the arrest of the Wittenlanders, and now Wittenland likes me less, but I'm more popular, I've got more war support, and I've once again paying political power. I'm beginning to sense a theme here. Let's do a scandal of decency. What is this? A slave and her master have been caught having an affair. The purist faction is furious, demanding that they are punished for diluting pure Pegasus blood. The traditionalists are content with a scolding for the two lovers, while the reformists consider the affair personal and want the bee to acknowledge it has no right to intervene here. Oh my, oh my. Looks like the Civil War in Longsword has started, the three-way one. Actually, I'm going to read this because I'm probably not going to get around to Longsword for a while, but just so people understand how this works. The county of Longsword has been under the reform of the Reformistan faction of the Griffin Knights. The Reformistan have been cruelly persecuting the local ponies while failing to address any of the other issues in their nation. Unrest has been brewing in the nation for some time now, with the ponies forming an organized resistance against the Reformistan. So this must be Starry Night here. Rumor has it that some Griffins, fed up with the government's atrocious behavior, have joined the ponies in the struggle. Meanwhile, Comrade Silver Talon has used the opportunity to rebel as well. I guess that's him over here. Leading the saner elements of the Knight in the military, he hopes to remind the Longswordians of their duty. Palace Dusk Talon, the Reformistan Count of Longsword, has denounced all his enemies, hoping to scramble his meager forces. I hope the ponies will be okay. Right. Pontagoras, Battlefuls, the Bee. When the general public and the bee have an opinion about something, it is not often that somebody dares sail against the wind. However, Pontagoras is arrogant and has the words to back it up. Thus, the philosopher argues that in the affair of the Helot and the citizen, the bee has no right to intervene. The pony stated that who a stallion or a mare sleeps with is private business, and that surely no pony, especially no stallion, would want the public watching whenever they shared the blessings of the god of love. This bold claim made almost all the Pegasi present flush red with embarrassment, prompting Ponetagoras to follow his claim up, arguing that if the Nimbusians do not want to watch what happens in private, they should also not seek to control it, not even in this case. The orator's speech caused the bee, still full of blushing ponies, to acknowledge that it would be best if every pony looked the other way. Why do they want to protect those that are weak? You know what? I feel like the music's low, and the music does not deserve that. We're using the music mod after all. All right. Can we knock out one more? All right, yeah, we're going to finish up this and probably make the decision, and then I'm going to call it a day on that. I know, it was a lot of reading, a lot of talking, but we're almost done with these 5, and once we're through these 5, things seem to speed up. The power of gossip. The bees' heated debate elevated what would normally be relegated to agora gossip to the front of the political debate. Of course, many citizens reveled in the scandal, openly declaring how disastrous it was for the morals and values of Nimbusia. Naturally, there were also those that agreed with the reformists that regardless of the opinions of others, what happened in the bedroom is a private matter. So Equestria demands the lovers' arrest. We're not just scolding them, we're going to arrest them. So this is costing me 60 political power, but I get a little more popular and I got a little more war support. Okay, so thanks for joining me. I think that was quite a big first episode. In the next one, we're gonna finish up this final one, figure out what we're gonna grow. Let's see if we can, we're gonna probably open up the political tree in the next episode. That's gonna be the plan. Of course, who knows what kind of things we can stumble upon along the way. But obviously a very lore-heavy start to the game. We're barely 6 months in, but I think that's fun. It's one of the beauties of Equestria at War. So thanks for joining me. I'll see you all in the next one. I hope you guys are excited as I am. Subscribe if you haven't already, and click the bell so you're always notified whenever a new episode goes up. And I'll see you in the next episode of Nimbusia Phalanxes Are Magic. Bye.